let's get started. Okay, so welcome everyone to our June 2025 Scrivener webinar series brought to you by the creative minds behind Scrivener and Scapple, Literature and Latte. I'm Oliver Evanson, your host today, bringing you insights drawn from over 15 years of writing and Scrivener expertise. Now, whether you're a seasoned author or just starting out your writing adventure, our webinars are designed with your needs in mind. So today we'll be discussing my ultimate Scrivener guide for nonfiction writers that want results. And remember, I do have a member of our dedicated technical support team standing by, ready to tackle any issues and to answer your questions throughout the session. So I have Alex here moderating today. You may have seen her pop in the chat already. If you encounter any issues, please reach out to her in the Q&A ideally so she can see those quickly and get those addressed. But she'll also be keeping an eye on the chat. And plus, I think we're on the lower amount of registrations today, so either way, we should be able to get taken care of one way or the other, whether it's in the chat or the Q&A. But there we go. Now, for those of you who wish to revisit the session or share it with fellow writers, the webinar is being recorded. You can find the replay on my YouTube channel, most likely tomorrow, and enjoy ad-free next week in the Literature and Latte webinar library. So links will be provided here shortly, so watch out for that. I will say I have not yet posted Monday's webinar. I've been recovering this whole time. I'm hoping that today, after today's session, I'll get those both posted on YouTube for you. So just stay tuned with me. We'll get those taken care of. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Alex, for dropping that in there. Perfect. Let's get rolling here. Okay, so those of you who don't know who I am, if we have any new people here who are unfamiliar with me, I am Oliver Evans. I'm a writer, editor, mentor with 15 years of Scrivener and writing expertise. I'm so excited to teach you what I have learned in my position as the outreach specialist for Literature and Latte, the creators of Scrivener and Scapple. Now, I'd love to connect with you again. If you'd like to connect with me, please send me an email or better yet, join one of my newsletters. I frequently send out a lot of tips and techniques to help you become a better writer. And of course, all subscribers will get a free copy of my free starter novel template. So check that out. And of course, if you'd like to see what I'm working on in Scrivener, you can check out my author website currently at oliverevanson.substack.com, where you can use that QR code right there to get subscribed. Perfect. Well, now that we're better acquainted, let's just spend a few minutes talking about today's schedule. So first off, we've gone through our introduction here. We're going to go straight into our training. I'm not going to waste any time. And I'll cover my simple but powerful Scrivener guide for nonfiction writers who want results. After which, I'll wrap it up with some free resources you can utilize to deepen your understanding of Scrivener and improve your writing skills. I'll also leave some ample time at the end for some Q&A, where I'll do my best to answer as many of your questions as possible. Okay, awesome. Now, for those of you who are familiar with Scrivener, probably already are aware or familiar with this section right here of the new project window in Scrivener here. And specifically, we're going to be looking today at the nonfiction template, which is a great place to start if you're a nonfiction writer. Now, depending on the type of nonfiction writing you're doing, Scrivener does provide plenty of other great templates. You can see some of them here. We have the essay for Chicago style. We have a paper, APA paper. There's even MLA. It's not shown on this screen yet, but tons of great things we can do. Sorry. But what I love about the nonfiction template is it comes with a pre-built structure for chapters, research, front matter, saving you time and effort. You can customize it to fit your project perfectly by renaming folders, adding and removing sections. You can even create reusable chapter templates, which is what I typically do. I love creating chapter templates. We'll look at that if there's any interest there. Of course, you can use labels, metadata, all the great tools we've talked about previously to track your progress and give you a clear direction as you build your book's foundation. Okay, so let's do that right now. Let's just switch over real quick. I'm going to go ahead and share with you the nonfiction template, how to set it up, where it is, all that fun stuff, or even, and also show you where all those templates are so you can take advantage of that great tool. Okay, perfect. Can everybody see my screen? Looks like we're looking good there. Zoom says you can see it. Hopefully you can. I'm going to open up Scrivener. We can see it. Yeah, oh, perfect. Great. Okay, let's open it up here. Now, my Scrivener project, new project window, it defaults to my writer mentor templates because that's typically the templates I'm using. These are templates I've created, templates that are available for you to purchase also, and also, of course, my free template that's available to everyone who subscribes to my newsletter. But today, we're focusing on nonfiction. At some point, I probably will create a nonfiction template, but for now, here we have a plethora of great nonfiction template options. So we have right here, like I showed you earlier, the essay Chicago style, the general nonfiction, which is where we're going to be looking at today. We also have a latex version. If you're familiar with latex, great, use it. If you're not, don't even worry about it. It's kind of an advanced topic and feature. Out, not directly connected to Scrivener, just in case you're wondering. APA style paper style. We have an MLA paper style. So if you're writing in those specific styles, these are great places to start as a springboard to have a lot of that already set up for you. There's a research proposal option and an undergraduate humanities essay option. So you can choose from any number of these options depending on your specific need. Okay. Now, for our purposes today, we're going to focus on general nonfiction, which will cover mostly everyone in one form or another. And we're going to call this the nonfiction novel. Well, not the nonfiction novel. The nonfiction book novel is a fiction. That would be an oxymoron. Okay. Nonfiction book. Guess that's the medicine talking. There we go. Okay, perfect. So it's gonna pop that up right like so. Now I saved it on my desktop. Obviously, you'd want to save it somewhere where you keep all your projects, right? The name is also important, but just for our purposes, we're gonna keep it really simple today. So right now, when we first open up, we have this nonfiction format. This is a simple introduction about this template, how to use it. You can read through this if you want. I'll be honest, um, I have not read through it myself. I typically just dive right in, but it is a great place to start. It gives you some information about tables and figures, about how to compile with this template. So it is a really great resource. Even it tells you how to add subheadings, customizing if you're using the ebook option for this when you're compiling it out. There's even tells you about the sample document that's available right here in the research folder and to give you an idea of what this looks like. Okay, so I guess I have read through. I just haven't. It's been a while. There we go. So a lot of cool things here. Check that out. It does give you a final note as to, I really do believe in this. Scrivener project templates are flexible and are not intended to restrict you to a particular workflow. Think of them as a springboard, a starting point. This template is just here to give you a structure, something to start out with. And of course, you can change, modify, and improve that. And if you're writing a lot of nonfiction material, I highly encourage you to. If you get a template that just you've changed it enough and it's gonna become your own, take some time and go ahead and save that as a template here and give it a name. Say Oliver's non-fiction template, right? Save that in. You can give it a custom icon, you can do whatever you like there. But when you get it how you like it, don't be afraid to do that. It's a good thing to do so you can frequently use that process, those changes you made again and again and again. Okay. Now typically when I come into a new project like this, I go ahead and trash everything I don't need. The nonfiction format document there. I can get this anytime I need it. I also like to clean up my I like to simplify, I should say. I like to simplify my binder. So the front matter, back matter, that stuff typically I'm thinking about after the fact. This sample, I might glance at it once and then go ahead and move that to trash as well. And let's see here. Yeah, that looks good. And these, if you recall from Monday, about organization. This is also simple stuff I like to do to keep things organized. And usually, I like to either if I wanted to keep these, I could organize this and maybe make a folder or something for it. But since I know I can easily get these again, I'm just going to go ahead and delete them like so. Okay. And there we go. I have a manuscript folder, I have a research folder, and I have a trash folder. There's one more thing I'm going to do. I'm going to come here in the bottom left corner here. I'm going to click create a new folder right there, that little icon. Boom, like so. Now it put it in my template in my research folder, which is fine. But I'm going to create a templates folder like this. Because you can see by default, this does not have one built into it. So I want you guys to know how to do this. So what we're going to do, once that folder is created, we're going to go to project settings right here. We're going to click on special folders. And then we're going to set the templates folder right here. Now it should automatically pull that folder up because I called it the templates folder. See, there it is right there. But if it didn't, I can find it right there. You could have any of these folders be a template folder. But for our purposes, I highly recommend you just call it templates folder. It's just so much easier to find. Plus, Scrivener will know what it's looking for. We'll click OK. Boom. You can kind of see that now that the icon has changed. It's kind of hard to see, I know, but it is now like a little T on with a box around it, a blue box around it. So anything I put in there now will show up there. And so I could have like maybe a section here. Let me move this out of the way. There we go. Add a section here, like so. And that would then be that. I could then even give it like a target, right? If you're wondering how I did that, I just clicked this right down here, go to target, and now I have a section. I come up to the manuscript folder, have the chapter here, a section. I might even just duplicate this right here. I want to keep that format and drop it in like so. And maybe even just change this to template. And we'll open it up. We could keep that. We could also change the target down here, bottom right corner. This is typical stuff I'll do. If I don't have my own template for something, these are some things I quickly like to come in and just set up so that I don't have to do it again. And then I would even probably save this as my new template when I was done as a new project template. So we'll do 750 words again, minimum target. This time we'll add a 250 minimum target. We'll show target notifications. Just so you know, my notifications on this Mac, for some reason they're being blocked. I haven't figured that out yet. I think it's some Mac OS setting it's blocking those, especially while I'm in a webinar, so those don't show up when I'm in this webinar setting, but they do pop up typically on most devices. Okay, there we go. And see, now I got some templates ready to go here. So if I wanted to recreate this right here, right, I could click on my manuscript folder. It's going to add this little arrow button right there. And I can then click chapter template, and boom, there it is. I've added that in, and now I can start building out a structure in my binder here. There we go. I think I may have jumped ahead a little bit, but no, actually, no. Looks like, yeah, I had reusable chapter templates. That's how we would set those up. But you see how quickly and easily that was? We were able to quickly clean this up. It looks really simple. And you can keep your templates folder in your research folder. You can pull it out like this. So it's showed out here too if you're frequently coming into your templates folder and adding templates and things like that. Whatever makes sense for you. I tend to focus on simplicity. So I like this three or four folders. Either way is just fine. Whatever makes sense to you. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and switch back to our presentation here. That's the nonfiction template. We'll be using that for the rest of our session today. But let's talk about our next thing. Okay, tools for outlining and structuring in Scrivener. Now, this is where Scrivener really shines. Lots of great tools. We're going to look at the three fundamental building blocks of outlining in Scrivener. So first off, we have our binder, which we've kind of already covered a little bit, how we can easily build and rearrange sections. That's typically where I like to start. You saw I start building a framework of chapters and sections and things like that. If I want to dig deeper, I'll switch to the corkboard view for a more visual approach. I can use the index cards to add in key summaries and notes of what I anticipate will occur in my chapters or the sections of this book. And then if I want to dig even deeper, I'll use the outliner to track things like document targets, status, labels, and you name it. Whatever I need to see visually, the outliner is where I kind of like my commands and where I bring everything together and I figure out what I'm doing. And honestly, when you use these three tools together, you can they really work together seamlessly. I would really recommend you learn these three keyboard shortcuts. It's on a PC, or sorry, on a Mac, it's going to be the command button and then the numbers 1, 2, and 3. On a PC, it's going to be the control button and then once again numbers 1, 2, and 3. And those keyboard shortcuts will allow you to quickly toggle between the binder, the corkboard, or not the binder, the corkboard, the outliner, and let's say the editor or scrivening's view, depending on what you're going on. The binder is always available right there on the side unless you hide it. We'll look at that in just a second. Okay, so let's take a peek at these exceptional tools real quick. Oops, wrong button. There we go. Give me a second, guys. I closed out my presentation. Didn't mean to do that. There we go. Excellent. Okay, so let's look at this real quick. Okay, we're looking at, and once again, let me show you those keyboard shortcuts. So the binder right here, of course, left corner right there, we have that available to us right there. If I wanted to, I can view it. I can hide it like so, so it's out of the way. Um, but if I do that, then I don't, I can't see what's going on there. But I can easily bring it back by going to View, Show Binder. So if you're looking for a more minimalist approach, you want kind of have that out of your way. You know what you're working on. You can easily come there and hide that away or show it. Okay. Now, in terms of switching between views, right here in the center, you can see right now we are currently in the corkboard view, right? Now, there's a couple different ways we can do that. You can see right here we have this little group mode option. So I can click this to go into Scrivening's view. I can click this to go into group mode. I can click this to go into the outliner. Now, I personally like to use the keyboard shortcuts. In this case, I'm going to push Command 1 to switch to Scrivening's or document view. Now, just so you know, if I had a single document selected, it's just going to show that document in this view. If I have a whole folder selected, it's going to show everything that's in that folder. If I push Command 2 or Control 2 on the PC, it's going to switch me over to my corkboard. And then Command 3 switches me over to the outliner view. Now, typically, I don't share keyboard shortcuts that often. One, because they're kind of hard to show and demonstrate visually on the screen here. But these are three ones that are really simple that I highly recommend you learn. It's just easy to toggle between them 1, 2, and 3 like this. Okay. Simple. So I can easily just switch those over. And then I save me that little effort of coming over here and clicking that button. But if keyboard shortcuts aren't your thing, you can see they're right there. We can switch them right there. If for any reason this is missing, we can go to view. We see we have the option there, Scrivenings, corkboard, outline. One important thing I want you to show you, if I click just a single document here, like the forward, I go to view, it says view document instead. So if you're like, where's Scrivenings mode? What happened to it? Scrivenings mode only appears when you have a folder selected. Okay. So if I click on my chapter here, right? View Scrivenings. Click on the document, view document. Perfect. So let's talk about now. Sorry. Let's see if we can put together something real quick. So we're going to go ahead and click the manuscript folder. We're going to go to our corkboard here, and this is where we could add more information about or kind of outline our book, so to speak, our nonfiction book here. So we can write our forward here, right? This wouldn't be the actual forward, okay, but we could write a summary of the forward, right? What it's going to be out, maybe add some notes about it. You notice over here, we also do have access to our document notes and things like that for this section. Okay. The chapter here too. You can double click inside that and give clear information. What happens in this chapter. Okay. If you remember from earlier, we want to give clear, distinctive names as to what this is about. So let's change this. I'm going to call this my 0 to first draft book here. Okay. So I guess you can guess from the title here that this whole book is going to be around how do I get from having nothing to write about to having a finished first draft, right? And so let's look at it. What would we do? The what could the first chapter be about? We'll call it uh, biggest thing holding you back. I don't know. It could be anything. The biggest thing holding you back. But the beauty of this is when you're outlining right, it doesn't have to be perfect. So, and I could even ask myself, what really stops writers from finishing a first draft of their book? Okay. And you could consider that, right? I could continue brainstorming here and think of some ideas. So for me, perfectionism. Oh, big one. Perfectionism. I really wanted my first book to be perfect when I was done, which is an insane thing to want. But I really believed that. I really wanted that. And that stopped me from making any progress because I was always trying to finish that first perfect chapter. Those, yeah, no, looking back, it seems a little silly. Sorry. But, at the time, it made perfect sense to me, right? And so I could then start fleshing out each chapter what I want to talk about. How to finish a book. I don't know, a draft fast, right? You name it. I can come over here to the bottom left corner. I can add in more chapters here. That's just a folder there. I can right click here, go add new from template, which is really what I want to do. I didn't really want this folder. If I want to delete something, I can drag it over to my trash like so. I can even right click it and move it to the trash like so. Okay. So hopefully you kind of see the power of this whole of the corkboard here. Now, if we want to take a step further, we want to dig a little deeper. We can push Command 3 now, switch over to our outliner view, and we can start looking at some other key things. Now, I don't have anything set up for labels here. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the labels like so. I'm going to keep the statuses. So this is to do. This is to do. Yep, this is to do. This is to do, and I could open up each of these. This says it's first draft. Interesting. First draft. So that's something I want to look at with my template. Okay, let's take a peek at that real quick. When I set up a template, I want to have as little work to do as possible. So I look at my chapter template here. I'm going to open this up. This section, for some reason, it's set to first draft. I'm going to change that to do. Same with the template here. I'm going to change the folder to do. And this one too, I'm also going to change that status to do so that anytime I make this template, it's going to have that. And another thing I'm going to do, I'm actually going to change the icon here to I like this little unchecked box here. I'm just a really big fan of that. You can change the icon to whatever you want it to be. I like to come in and check those boxes, probably because I'm a bit of a planner. There we go, like that. And I just like that looks really clean. Now you can see it didn't change any of my existing templates, right? But if I came here and I added a new one, let's even go back to here. Right click, add new from template. See, I can do this from any view. I can do it from the script, from the corkboard view. I can do it from the outliner view here. Boom, just like that. There's my chapter template. Now, I did get put somewhere I didn't want to. I can easily pull that out like so. Boom. And you can see as I make changes here, the changes do reflect in my binder like so. So there we go. Okay. So that hopefully that makes sense to you. We can come in here, we can add in more clear details. Like I have my total target, total progress here. I can add in, I can remove my section type. I don't really need that structure there. I like to having the status there. You can see I have targets here set up. I can see my actual progress and where I'm going there. These ones have no target set, so I might want to look at that and say, okay, what's going on here? What's even cooler here is I can actually double click inside into these icons. It'll take me, it'll navigate me through my structure to get to work on what I'm working on. And I can do that from the cork board. So let's say here, what's the biggest biggest thing holding you back? Double click that. I can then click the section and start writing like so. I might even come back here and click the back button. This one might be on the writer's mindset, right? And this one, I might create another section. Oops. Instead of doing a new document, we'll right click, add new from template section, and we'll call this perfectionism. And we could go on and on and on and kind of break the problem into smaller and smaller pieces. So hopefully you can see how powerful that could be as we switch around here. I can even go back. I can go back to my outliner view, click that button right there, open it up, and you can see all that being set up there, just how I like it. Okay. In this case, for some reason, I guess I didn't create I forgot to use the template there again. Come here, set the 750, change that to do. Boom, done. So lots of fun stuff we can do. If you saw Monday's webinar, I get into a little bit more detail as to what the outliner can do. There's so much more we can do with the outliner, but hopefully this gives you a clear grasp of just the possibilities that are available to you in Scrivener between the corkboard view, the outliner view, and then just actually writing your text in Scrivener. Correct. Yeah. Thank you, Alex, for answering those questions. That's great. Okay, I'm going to switch back to my presentation here. get started with the next section. Okay, now once your structure is ready, it's time to talk about how you can manage your research effectively in Scrivener. Now, that's why we have the research folder available when waiting for you. It's to help you keep all your material in one place, whether that's PDFs, notes, or media files. You can organize your folders with files, with subfolders, and even link to external sources using bookmarks. You can even have the actual websites inside the binder if you so wish. Bookmarks is a great way to kind of keep those a little bit separate, but the choice is yours and how do you keep track of those. You can also, even in the main editor, you can leave comments. You can annotate your text inline. You can do footnotes. I didn't mention footnotes here, but footnotes and inline footnotes as well. And we can look at how all that stuff is done here. But I think we're going to also switch over to the next slide real quick too. We're going to kind of merge this all into one. And we're also going to talk about, because this is all in with research, is how do we keep track of citations and bibliographies. So there are some popular solutions that do work well with Scrivener, that are very popular around that a lot of people use. Uh, the three I pulled up are EndNote, Zotero, and Bookends. And I've done a lot of research on this in the past. There, unfortunately, are not a ton of solutions out there. There are a lot of them have been discontinued, aren't available anymore. But these three have seemed to stood the test of time. So today we're just going to be looking at bookends for EndNote and Zotero. They're all paid apps, just so you know. They are separate. We're not affiliated with them directly. They're completely different companies, completely different apps. I chose bookends because they offer a demo version of the software where you can actually test it out at no cost whatsoever. EndNote and Zotero, they both required some sort of like credit card information to be given to access their what do you call it? To access their free trials, so to speak, which for me was kind of like, I mean, I could do it. I've done it in the past, but I just loved how Bookends was. You could just download it to your computer and get started. The only disadvantage for Bookends, unfortunately, is for PC users. It is a Mac-only app. They don't have a PC version. I wish that would change. I've actually enjoyed using it. The little bit I have used of it seems pretty nice. It's a great little app, but just be aware those are the options available. Let's see here. Okay, perfect. Now, in terms of configuration with your citations and bibliography managers, Scrivener's integration with these apps is actually extremely simple. There's nothing really complex about this. In fact, it's just all the shortcut does is you press Command Y on a Mac. I'm sure it's Control Y on a PC, and Scrivener just opens up the app. That's all it does. In fact, if you went in there, you could literally change that shortcut to any app you wanted to just open up with a quick shortcut, and Scrivener would do it for you. And I'll show you how that works. But and now, for those who prefer to keep things fully within Scrivener, you can absolutely manage all your sources manually in the Scrivener project. You just create a document and say, okay, I'm going to keep all my citations here. You'll have to write them all out. I mean, you could use other websites and apps to kind of format those correctly if you wanted to, depending on your specific style that you may be using, writing style you may use. You'll need to cite everything yourself directly in Scrivener. You'll need to double check for accuracy when you compile your manuscript. So there's no right or wrong way to do this. Those citation apps are great. They do have a little extra upfront cost. They make the process a little bit easier for you, right? But Scrivener you can easily keep track of all those things in Scrivener yourself. Ultimately, it's up to you to decide which way is the best way for you to handle your citations, right? Now, let's go ahead and take a look at those two features and get started. And I'll see if I'm going to look at the chat too, because it looks like we've got some stuff, some interesting comments going on there as well. Okay, so Jock says you only have to pay for Zotero if you need a ton of storage, even if you're saving copies of all the pages, PDFs you're referring to, you'd struggle to fill up your free allowance. Great, Jock. See, I didn't know that. I looked into it. I saw they were asking for credit card information. I didn't see an option to download it without it. So, but yeah, feel free to check it out. That's Zotero, EndNote, and Bookends. And I imagine depending on which, you might want to test all three and just see which one works best for you, because everyone's going to be a little bit different in terms of what they like and yeah, what they do. So thank you, Jack. I really appreciate that. Switch back real quick. Okay, perfect. So we have our research folder right here. You can see we've kind of already got some things filling up in our research folders. Ideas and notes. For me, those are kind of almost one and the same. I mean, not precisely right. I might want to differentiate those, but I think what I'm actually going to do is do notes and ideas, and actually just delete this one, put it into my trash here. Okay, and combine those two together. Anywhere I'm going to see some sort of redundancy, I'm going to try to eliminate that redundancy and keep it as simple as possible. In terms of my research folder, I can store in PDFs, right? I can bring anything I want in here. Let's bring some of that stuff in here real quick, so you can see that. If you remember from Monday, ideally when you bring stuff in, you want to already have clear names and clear ideas, and so that there's no gobbledygook kind of weird names coming in. So I can pull in all my research in like this, right? I could even bring all of these in if I wanted to and just drag and drop them in like so. Okay, looks like there's some things that couldn't be imported here. I'm sure that was my Scrivener projects here. Whoops. I accidentally opened everything. There we go. Let's see here. Yeah, example Scrivener. Yeah, so those guys right there. So it did bring in the archive here. Let's see. But it didn't actually bring in any of these projects because it was just too much for it to bring in. But that's fine. We'll just move that to trash. You can see very quickly I have a nice structure here just by bringing things in like that. Now you can see why I might want to bring my templates folder out here, because once my research folder starts to get really big, then it starts to get a little crazy in here. If there's any way I can reduce this down, I will. So just keep that in mind. Like front and back matter, I'm gonna actually create a separate folder for that. I'm gonna call it compiling, or maybe exporting. Export my manuscript, and just drag and drop those in there like that. Keep it towards the bottom, like so. And then, you just organize that anyhow you like to. There's no right or wrong way to do this, okay? You can organize it anyhow you like. Just keep it simple. Make it easily searchable. Here's even these. Looks like could probably use some slightly better names, but academic web pages, different things. There you go, just like that. Brought that all in there. Okay, in terms of links, you can see right here, I'd had some links here. This is probably not the best way to keep track of these. So I could probably just take this right here and add it as a bookmark. Now I could add it as a document bookmark where it's specific to this document. So academic web pages. Let's do that. Add external bookmark. I'm going to call this. I don't have a name for what it is. Oh, it looks like it's pulling it up for me. Let's see if it's going to work. Oh, there we go. So we'll type in a pilot study real quick. Okay, like so. Let's make that a little bit bigger. And we'll just accept it. So there it is. A pilot study of the use of guided imagery for the treatment of recurrent abdominal pain in children. Interesting. Not sure why I pulled that one in. But if I were doing something related to that, you can see it's going to open it up if I double click it. I'm going to come here, paste that in so I can have it there. And I could literally just bring all these in like this. Cut it. Okay. Click this little box right here. I click external bookmark. Okay. It's going to pull that up. Caught between heart and limbs. You don't have to put the whole title here. Just something that you can look at it and see. Oh, that's what that is. This is how I would keep track of. This is a great way to keep track of web pages and things like that. Alternatively, I can literally just create. I could just turn this into a folder, convert to folder, and I could add the web pages like this. Let me show you. Exit this out. I'm going to go add import web page here. This one I have to give it a title to start out with, so I don't know what it is yet. Don't know. We'll click OK, and we'll add that in. I can change that in case you're wondering. There we go. Okay, so in which case I could then take this and oops, let's just use it. Copy. paste, like so. And this is another great way to keep track of web pages and things like that directly in Scrivener. You can see it actually loads up the page here. Okay. Potential disadvantage for bookmarks and web pages like this is it will try to pull it from from the internet. So if anything has changed, there could be potential issues of things, having been changed or not being like how you remember it. If that's the case, if you're concerned about anything changing from the actual website itself, or if you want those updates, I guess you could leave it alone. But if you don't, you could actually come here to Documents, Convert Web Page to Text. Now, right now, I'm going to let you know this is a great little tool, but it doesn't work 100% of the time. Sometimes it just doesn't work at all. Sometimes it just gives you a bunch of gobbledygook. So before I do this conversion, I usually go like this. I duplicate it. I drag it underneath like so. And then I come here and I go, okay, Documents, Convert, Web Page to Text. It'll let you know, say, some text attributes may be lost when converting this to a text document, and this action cannot be undone. That's exactly why I made a duplicate. Okay, there we go. Click OK. Let's see what happens. Also makes the website a little bit more usable because it's actually a text file now instead of a web archive file, which I kind of like. Now, it could take a minute. Let's give it a second here. Kind of love the spinning wheel. It's so colorful and beautiful. Probably should look to see how big the file was too. Hmm. It might be a bit too much of it for it right now since I'm running Zoom and everything else. Give me a second, guys. Yeah, it is a creepy. It's really. Oh, come on. Come on, Screamer. You can do it. Oh, there we go. Okay, yep. So, unfortunately, it does. It's unfortunate. It didn't work. So sometimes you'll get this. It'll just be a blank page and it couldn't make the conversion. It couldn't do it. That's why, if anything happens, I keep that extra one coming right around here. And of course, I could also do this. Right? If I could just literally, if that fails, like I said, it works about 50% of the time. Then I could just come here too, and I could just literally copy, right, and paste that in here like so. One thing I probably should have done was paste and match style. Let's try that again. Let's create a new document here. Make this big. Boom. Edit and paste and match style. It's nice because it'll match your formatting. There we go. It's a little bit cleaner looking, right? Use the autofill from earlier. Documents, autofill. Boom. Move the trash. And then I can just drag and drop this underneath it like that. It becomes a stack. And if I need the actual website, right, it's right there below it. I can access it still. You can see it's kind of clunky. It's a little slow running that. Whereas this is buttery smooth. We can just roll right through all of that. Okay. So just depending on your specific needs, how you want to do that. If you have specific websites that you're using again and again and again, you can save those in your project bookmark section right here, right? I wonder if I can even just drag this over like so. Yep, I could just drag that and drop that in there just like that if I want to. So if I've imported a website and I wanted this project bookmark where it's just available to me all the time, I can just drag and drop it just like that. You need to delete it, click the little X button right there, and you can delete that. And once again, the difference between a project bookmark and a document bookmark is documents are specific to that document in question, and project bookmarks are available to you anywhere in your project. Okay, perfect. Okay, now real quick, let's talk about comments and annotations, right? Now, unfortunately, for something like this, I can't come here and add a comment. Let's see. Yeah, that. Sorry. Yeah, see, I can't add any sort of comments or anything like that to a website, a web archive, but I can add a comment to a text file like this. You can go over to the comment section here. I can click the comment button, and I can write something. I like this idea. Save for later. Right? And this way I can interact directly with my research in this way. I can also do the same thing in my draft and add a comment here like so. Oops, wrong button. Takes us into composition mode. Comments like there. Now, if you use comments a lot, you might want to come to your customized toolbar option and actually add the comment button here. That's usually what I do. If I can find it right there. Same thing with inline footnotes and regular footnotes. You could pull those out as well. Let's see if I can remember if there's inline annotation here or not. No, I don't see it. Yep, right there. If you use inline annotations, that's handy too. Okay. So inline annotations is going to look something like this. Okay. And it's like a comment that's stored inside the text instead of in your inspector here. Okay. If you're wondering. And it's going to stay on until I turn that off. Boom. Now I can write regularly again. So if you want to keep text or comments in line, I highly recommend you use this little tool right here. Bear in mind, PC users, you're going to have to search for that customized toolbar option. Here, it's not the right-click customized toolbar. So just if you're a PC user looking at that, like, how do you get there? It's not customized toolbar like this. It's going to help and then search customized toolbar. Okay. But those are really handy. So we can add any sort of comment here. If I want it in the inspector, kind of outside the text, I use the comment. If I want to inline the text, I use the annotation. Okay. Footnotes, something are very, very similar. Instead, we're going to use this little CF button right here to add a footnote. It does have to be connected to something. So watch out for that. Looks like I converted that into a footnote. And it does have that gray color instead of that yellow color for the comment. Okay. So watch out for that, like that. You see the comment does automatically generate some information there too. Oftentimes, if you have your name, I think connected in the settings here, it'll add your name here too. You can always delete that text out if you don't want it. Okay. And if you need to delete them, there's a little X button right here. You can click that. There's a little minus button right there. You can click that as well. I don't know why my cursor is not, yeah, staying a cursor, but there we go. Yeah, those buttons right there. Excuse me. Okay, so that's how we use our research tools, our comments and annotations, footnotes even. We haven't dug too much into footnotes, but if there's any questions about that, we can look deeper into footnotes if wanted. Bookmarks, organization in the binder, and using that research folder to keep track of all of our research and so forth. Okay, looking good. Let's talk about bibliography management. That was kind of the next thing that was going to come up. So we're going to go to Scrivener, settings, and this is where we could add our citations or bibliography manager. It's right here under citations, and there it is. It says bibliography manager. It says no bibliography manager set. So how do I add this in? How do I change it? It's really easy to do. We just click the choose button, and then we find the app and we set it. Now, like I said earlier, I wanted to remind you this is a really simple integration. All Scrivener is doing is opening up the app. So let's take, for example, if I just chose pages, okay? All it does, if I push Command Y now or Control Y on the PC, let's close out of this. It's going to open up pages. Let's see. Yep, and it did. It didn't open it up directly on this window. Here it is right here. I can see. You can see there's pages and it's been opened up. So a really simple thing. It's just opening the app so you can quickly get access to it. Let's go ahead and quickly install Bookends. I just downloaded it onto this computer today. This is the one that, I found it works really nice. You can test it out for free. It doesn't cost you anything. Really easy to download. When you're searching for it, one thing I'll point out to you right now. Let's go. If I search bookends like this, it's going to pull up actual bookends and not the app itself. So usually what I do, and there's tons of them. So easiest way to find this app if you're looking for it is Bookends app. Okay. You can get it direct from the App Store, right? Or you can download it from their direct from their website. Where is it? Where'd it go? Right there, sunnysoftware.com. Okay. And like I said, what I like about it is that you can try it for free, the demo version here, and even their legacy versions if you need it. And it says the free demo version bookends will never timeout and is fully functional except for a 50 reference limit. So they let you use up to 50 references with it, which I think is pretty generous. You get to try it out and see if this is going to work for you or not. So we'll close that out. Eject this now. And we're going to go back to Scrivener. Let's assume we're using bookends and as our bibliography software. We're going to go to Scrivener. We're going to click Settings. We're going to go to a big bibliography manager. We're going to click Choose. And there's bookends right there. I'm going to click Open. Now, when I close this out, I push Command Y. Should open that up for me. Now, in this case, it's the first time I'm opening it. It's going to ask me that. Give it allow. I don't have the registration code right, so I'm going to click Continue. We'll create a new reference library. This is the first time using it. Call it Library 1. That's fine. We'll upload this link. There we go. Already exists in the cloud, I guess. Interesting. So I'm not a bookends expert, guys. So I can't really help you too much with this one. I haven't spent too much time with it, but I have spent a little bit of time with it. So we could come here, add in a reference. You can see all the different metadata and information about that reference we may need to add is available here. I could even, let's just add in my name. It's Oliver James, right? And we can add the title, etc. We can add the journal it's from, the volume, the issue, the date, etc. What's today? 06 25 2025. So you can add all that information in there, like so. There we go. Now, I don't know if anyone here uses bookends, is familiar with it, but this is, from what I understand, this is one of the better ones that are available for Mac users. But I see there's a lot of people who are fans of Zotero. So if you're familiar with Zotero and you want to give that one a try, let's take a peek at it real quick. Sorry, so Zotero. Yeah, looks like Zotero.org. You can, yeah, it even kind of gives you a Scrivener kind of feel here. It has like a binder like area, an inspector like character, and some titles and things. I guess this is more, yeah, very similar. So you can check this one out. Both seem like they're great apps. I wish I could give you more information about how they work. So the other nice thing about this is it works across platforms: Mac, Windows, Linux, iOS, and Android. So there's a lot of availability in terms of what device you're using. So that's definitely probably one of the stronger contenders for keeping track of your references and things like that. Now, how most of these work, though, is you add references in, and then I'm trying to think. It's been a minute since I've done it. Let me think. And it like, sorry, I'm just having my brain just literally just stopped working on me. Did I do this? File, import references. No. Export references. I did all this the other day, and like I know how to do this, but honestly, I think my brain's just not going to work today, guys. For this, I should have pulled it onto this device sooner. But how it works, essentially, I'll just kind of explain it briefly. I can't demonstrate it right at this moment because I'm having a brain fog right now. But essentially, the idea is that it'll add in references, like little tidbits of information about like what the reference is, and then you'll use that software later to scan your exported file. So if you go to compile here, when you export that, it'll have all these little identifier like tags and things, so that when you are ready to add in all the citations, in BookNote or Zotero will scan your document and then add in all the missing citations and things like that. It's a pretty clever way of doing it. Most of it actually happens outside of Scrivener and not directly into Scrivener itself. Okay, but it's a pretty cool way of doing it. I wish my brain was working better and I could help you figure it out. But I think my medicine is wearing off here. So yeah, when it works. Yeah.
Is it the insert bibliography command that you're looking for?
Is that what it is? I don't think so.
No,
I know there's thank you, Alex, for jumping on here for me. I know
no
there's a
worries.
way to actually added in from bookends. I did it the other day, and that's why I'm like, I can't. Why can't I remember this? Maybe I need to have a reference, but it would actually insert the like a code, like a placeholder. That's the word I'm looking for. It would insert a placeholder from bookends into Scrivener, and then when you export that out, it'll just you can just scan it, and it'll add in the the citation where it's supposed to be. Let me see if I can figure it out here. Next, that just all that does is open the app, which is already open, and my computer is being really slow. Let's close out that. Give me just 1 second here. Yes, Marcos, I mean placeholder. I mean placeholders. Thank you for being patient with me. I know I'm kind of losing it here. Um, let's see if I can figure this out real quick. There's one thing I'm good at, it's solving problems. Bookings. Come on, where is bookings? Why is it not popping up here? Minimize. We're just gonna quit it. Let's open that back up. Continue demo. Aha. Okay. This is what we do. So we copy citation. Man, you can see how slow my computer's going. It's my computer's feeling like me. And okay, then we can add these little references inside anytime there's a citation, anytime that citation is mentioned, right? We copy that in there and we paste it into our text like so. Okay. So my I could finish my sentence according to the this book, yada yada yada. We read the whole thing. And I paste that in there, and then when I export that out with all these little placeholders, every time we can then use this to do some to scan it, and then find it. So let's see if I can find it. The scanning, yeah, there it is, right? Okay, yep. So we go to Biblio, we go to scan document here. Thank you for bearing with me. And then we would click the document we have. So that's probably a Word document if we're exporting out as Word. They could then scan the Word document and then add in all the necessary citations where they go. So the way that makes it easier for us is that we can store all of our citations here in the manager, right? Keep everything clear and easy readable, easy to use, right? Looking nice. Copy the citation over into Scrivener and then just have those citations there in Scrivener. So in a way, we kind of keep the two separate. The citations are managed in bookends or Zotero, depending on what we're using. We bring in a little identifier so Zotero can then link that citation with what we have in Scrivener. And that's kind of how those two things would work together in that way. So let me just show that again. We're going to right click the citation, whatever it may be, copy it, okay, and then paste that directly wherever it needs to be in Scrivener. Okay. So depending on the style you're writing in, depending on what you're doing, may determine what is what and what goes where. But that's how that would work. And then we would just export that out to be scanned by bookends or Zotero. We compile it out. Okay. So maybe let's do that real quick. We don't want to print. Let's do a Word document. Thank you for bearing with me. It finally came back to me. Took me a minute. Yeah, I'm wishing I had planned my webinars last week when I was still when I wasn't so sick. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we got that there. Doesn't look like much, I know. Okay. Maybe if it'll open up. I don't know if I have Word. Do I have Word? I do have Word. Okay. I can't edit anything though. There it is right there. That's the citation, right? So then I would go back into bookends here. Okay. We're going to go to Biblio scan document here. Go to desktop. We then select the document scan. Why is it? Oh, why is it not giving me the option to scan that? It could be because I don't have access to Word. Let me try exporting to a different one. Let's do a rich text document instead. So I'm going to do a rich text file instead of a Word file there. Yeah, unfortunately. Yep. Yep. So we currently don't have any way of doing it directly in Scrivener. I guess we could try. Let's see. I've never tried to scan. We have to go to scan document. Yeah, see, I can do it from a rich text file. I don't know why it's not letting me do it in Word. Word should work. But yeah, I'm going to do it as a rich text file. We'll open that. You can use it depending on whatever edition you may need to use. In this case, to APA 7th. Okay, scanned. Okay, there we go. And there it is. Yep, there's the citation that was changed. Of course, in this case, there wasn't much to be added, right? There it is again. Yeah. So, yep. I know everyone's at. I get this question a lot. Hey, how can we handle citations better? And I'm sure um, you could do all this manually in Scrivener. That's one thing I'd like to add. A lot of people use these apps and with great effect, and they really like them. And so, if you want to use them with Scrivener, that's how you would do it. Okay. I'm not seeing, unfortunately, any option of actually going into a Scrivener project here. There are some cases where we can show the package contents. On the PC, you might have more flexibility there because on the PC, you can actually see into the project. You could go into the files and potentially try to do that. I wouldn't recommend it though because those files are kind of strangely numbered. Here you can see, so might be hard to identify which documents are which. But typically, you export it out, you scan the document, you get all those in, and then you just go through the scan document and make sure that everything looks like it should. There you go. Okay. So that is references. Okay. I think that was the number one thing. Last time I did this webinar, everyone was asking me references, references. How do we manage references? That's how we would handle references with an external app. If you're doing it all in Scrivener, of course, you could create, you could do the old fashioned manual way, right? Where we just come here and say, okay, I'm just going to have a references or bibliography section, right? References, and then keep track of those manually, right? I probably would even make this a folder to get started and then just keep track of all those there and how they're supposed to be created and how they're supposed to be titled and everything else, right? Keep them all tracked into one document. In fact, when I was in college, that's typically what I did. I just had a references folder, kept track of all my references in this way, how they were supposed to be formatted, and then I would just type them in and refer to them that way. Now, that's pretty easy when you're writing a research paper, an essay, or something where you've only got like maybe like 10 to 20 sources. If you're working with like 30, 40, 50, hundreds of sources, then an external app starts to make a lot more sense for you. So just depending on your project and what it needs may determine the tools you're going to use. Okay, looking good. So we're about 5 minutes after the hour. Let me see what we've got left on our presentation here. Let's move this over. There we go. We got a couple more things. We talked about that. Okay. The last thing we're going to look at is finalizing and preparing for export. We kind of already did the RTF scanning thing, but we'll look at this a little bit more at the different formatting options available in the nonfiction template, um, which methods to format to, how to update fonts and styles and sections, etc., and even how to export to multiple versions. So, like different versions of your draft here, and then we'll call it a day. Let's do it. Okay. Now, in terms of compiling, we can click the compile button right here. We can go to File, Compile as well. And you can see we already have some pre-compiled formats specific to this project. We have the nonfiction manuscript courier, okay, which just means the font is in fact courier instead of Times New Roman. And we have the nonfiction manuscript format for Times New Roman. You can easily actually come here and change the font to be whatever you want it to be. So if you want Courier New or Courier Prime, you could easily come through and change between those three or to anything that you have currently installed on your computer. Okay, up to you. We'll leave it as Courier. Let's do Courier Prime. Okay. Now we also have a number of other Scrivener formats available too. We have some outline options here that can actually create the outline based on what you have in your what do you call it, in your index cards and synopses. Okay, along with titles. We have just the typical manuscript and Courier and Times. This is more fiction based, so just be aware of that. We do have a modern format here as well. It's more of a modern look and feel. So depending on what your needs are, you may want to mess around with these and find one that kind of fits what you're looking for, what you're trying to export out. Now, I'll be honest with you. Typically, I don't do final formatting in the compiler. I do final formatting in external apps like Vellum, Affinity Publisher, and things like that. I'm usually using Scrivener primarily for my drafting and creating, and not for my editing and things like that. Once I get everything polished and ready to go, I'm usually exporting it out to do it. But you can see here, Scrivener is very robust. If I wanted to spend the time here and really get things cleaned up and looking nice, I certainly could. The option is there. And it's all going to depend on my export here. What am I exporting for? I'm exporting for print, PDF. I might focus on a more paperback style look here, right? 6 by 9 or 5.06 by 7.8. Okay, depending on what your specific needs are. PDF is a great format for that. We have rich text. We have Microsoft Word right here. We have all the kind of big names we kind of expect. I find most of you are going to be sharing this with other people using Microsoft Word. That's fine. If someone else is using OpenOffice, that option is there as well. There's plain text, web page, final draft. If you're using these are specifically for screenplays. I don't think that's going to be too applicable for nonfiction writing, but you never know. We also have, if you're planning to self-publish or publish these directly yourself, you can use the EPUB book option here. I'm not actually sure if Kindle uses the .mobi file anymore. It's been a minute since I've looked at any of the Kindle stuff. I kept hearing about them changing things. I don't know if anyone is aware what file Kindle is accepting now. We still have the Mobi file format there available to you. So if you do need that, it is there. And if you're familiar with multi-markdown, latex, and all the rest, those options are available here as well. Those are kind of more advanced, a little bit more code heavy if you're familiar with like coding and things like that. I have done some multi-markdown. It's not too terribly complicated in the beginning, but it can get kind of crazy if you're not familiar with that stuff. But anyway, those are all of our export options here. And each one kind of comes with different formats available to it. See, Markdown's going to have something different. Ebook's going to have something different. It's just going to depend on what your specific needs are. If we're just doing a PDF Word file, manuscript courier, if you're just sharing this with somebody, um, you're going to want to look at their specific publication guidelines, their submission guidelines, whatever the case may be, and send those out. If you're doing it for yourself and you're planning to self-publish or whatever, you can figure out those specific needs, whether it's EPUB, Mobi, or if you're going to be uploading it to an external software like Vellum or something, where you do that final formatting. They will need that Microsoft Word document format. There's that Vellum format right there. Sorry, my voice is coming out on me, so I'm going to close it up there. But if there are any questions about the compiler, we can definitely look at that. I'm happy to answer those questions for you. Okay, see, that's what I thought. Thank you, Chris. I didn't think KDP used the .mobi format anymore. I thought they had switched to EPUB. So thank you for pointing that out. In fact, we may want to even. I mean, I'm sure we're keeping it there for the off chance that somebody might need it for some strange reason. But yeah, we might want to look into that. I do find that interesting that they switched from that. EPUB is the standard format anyway, so I was surprised. Kindle. I mean, Amazon always trying to do their own thing, right? But there we go. Okay. Okay. So there we go. I think we're gonna wrap it up there. I'm gonna share my screen here. We'll go from that point. We do have some great free resources available to you. Let me see if I can switch back to my notes here. There we go. Okay. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. This has been a great session. Thank you for being patient with me. I know I'm a little under the weather, and so my my brain isn't quite making those synapses aren't quite connecting like I'd like to, and so it's been a little bit of a challenging challenging day for me. But I hope that you found this information useful. Of course, you can rewatch this session. I have recorded the entire thing, and I'll get that posted later today or tomorrow for you guys to rewatch that. And don't think this is gonna be the last time we'll do a nonfiction one. I'll do another one again. Hopefully, it'll be a little bit better for you. If you're not already part of my attorney writers and authors community yet, I highly recommend you check that out. In case you don't know, I recently released the Writer's Toolbox Scrivener template, and I have been posting writer's tools. And those tools are not going to be just be fiction tools only. I will be posting nonfiction tools, fiction tools, um, marketing tools, all sorts of tools. Basically, any tool that I found useful as a writer is going to be going up on my Substack. And the best part is, if you're subscribed, I'm pretty sure all the tools I'm going to be giving out are going to be free. I'm just literally just sending out. So if you're subscribed, you're going to get those straight to your inbox. You can copy and paste the tools you like directly into your Scrivener projects, and then you can use them as you need them. So I highly recommend you check that out. I'm excited. I've been having a lot of fun doing it as I slowly am crafting and building my own writer's toolbox and bringing those tools in. I've had them kind of scattered around. It's exciting to kind of bring them all into one central location where I can find them and use them as the need arises. So check that out. Of course, we have all these great other things available too. We have our blog video tutorials, the user forum. User forum is a great place to go if you're stuck. Like these webinars are great, but we have tons of veteran users on the user forum who've are experiencing the problems you're experiencing now, and they are more than happy to help you. They've crafted their own solutions, and so it's a great resource. I highly recommend if you're not part of the forum, you get to be part of it. It's a great place. Okay, well there we go. We do have one more webinar this week, assuming I'm still alive by then. No, I should be good. Hopefully by Friday I'll be like tip top shape, 100%. Um, Doing better. This is one of my more favorite webinars where we talk about turning Scrivener into your ultimate distraction-free writing space. How can we make our environment conducive to writing, right? And so that's what this webinar is all about. You can take the principles we've learned from Monday, from today, whether you're a fiction writer or a nonfiction writer, doesn't matter where you're at. Join me this Friday, June 27th, 2025, at 1 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. UK for the webinar where we'll talk about how to create the ultimate distraction-free writing space with Scrivener. Okay, you're going to love it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so let's open up the floor for any questions you guys may have. I'm happy to address any confusion, which I'm sure may have occurred today. So feel free to let me know. Of course, if there aren't any questions or any things we can't get to, these are the email addresses you're going to want to reach out to us at. There is a specific email for your platform. So if you're on the Mac, do the Scrivener/Mac. If you're on a PC, do Scrivener/Win. If you're on a mobile device of any kind, do Scrivener/Mobile. And if you're using Scapple, that Scapple has its own special email. And of course, if you have any questions for me, anything you'd like to see in the webinars, please reach out to me at contact@ogevanson.com. Excited to hear from you. And I always appreciate your feedback. I get lots of great feedback, get lots of great questions. I will say this: if you have a technical question you need solved quickly, you're going to want to reach out to our technical support line. They're a lot quicker than I am. Sometimes it can take me a few days to even to a few months to get back, depending on how many emails I get. So just bear in mind that if you need a quick answer, don't don't email me directly. It's going to take me a while. But if you want to give me some feedback, if you want to give me if you're looking for some key things like, hey, I'd really like to see this in one of your webinars, or I'd even like to see this guest, let me know. I love to reach out to guests and reach out to people and see if we can organize some great stuff for you guys. So thank you. Oh, thank you, Darylyn. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Let me just. It looks like there's nothing in the Q&A. Yeah, I don't see anything in the Q&A. No open questions. I think all the questions have been answered. So thank you, Darylyn. Thank you all. Esmeralda, really appreciate it. Um, Thank you. I appreciate all the well wishes. I hope to be feeling better here soon too. Um, I appreciate you all. So I guess it looks like all the questions have been answered. We'll just conclude, and I'll just thank you everyone for coming. Until next time, I will see you again on Friday. Have fun, everyone. See ya. Bye.